This lecture has been made available to you courtesy of the American Numismatic Society.
On to our next speaker, Pere Pau Ripollès. I mean, like everyone here, doesn't really need an introduction. His publications are voluminous, far too many to list here. Maybe for our particular purpose, given the title of this conference, it's enough and obvious to cite his work on Roman provincial coinage, Volume 1, from the death of Caesar to Vitellius, and also its glorious supplements and extra editions. Hard to believe that's 30 years old at this point from the first publication. Professor Ripollès is professor of archaeology at the University of Valencia. His ongoing research continues to be in Iberian coinage, as we shall see. The honors he received, it sort of takes a passport to go over them. He's received the Jeton de Vermeil in France in 1998, and the Medal of the Royal Numismatic Society in the UK in 2016. He's a corresponding member of the Real Academia de la Historia in Spain. And above all this, has had a series of roles at the International Numismatics Council. So we welcome you, Professor Ripollès, and we're looking forward to your talk, The Impact of Roman Republican Coinage on Spanish Local Issues, the Unofficial Imitations.
Okay, thank you very much for your nice introduction again. And first of all, I want to thanks to the organizers, to Liv, Lucia, and Oliver, the honor and the opportunity to take part of this event honoring our friend Rick Wishonki. Now, today, I'm going to highlight an interesting phenomenon. This is the Spanish imitations of Roman Republican bronze coinages, from which, or for which, the Wishonki collection has been crucial. Okay. The first opportunity for the peoples of the Iberian Peninsula to use Roman Republican coinage came with the Roman arrival in Emporium in 218 BC, and during the years of the Second Punic War. This short period was of crucial importance in introducing coinage as a form of money to the Iberian society. I need to warn that I'm using Iberian, the word Iberian, in a geographical sense, not as Iberian culture, but as the cultures of the Iberian Peninsula. Coinage had, before the war, only reached a few places on the Mediterranean coast. The war led to the minting of large numbers of coins to finance it. Never before had so much and so diverse coinage been circulated and been made in the Iberian Peninsula in terms of iconography, denominations, metals, and weight systems, weight standards. The Roman victory led to the annexation of a wide strip of Mediterranean coastline and marked the beginning of a long and slow process of assimilation and cultural exchange. In general, it appears that the Romans had very limited influence on the internal development of the various Iberian cultures, since the occupation seems to have been limited largely to maintaining political control, collecting taxes, and exploiting resources. In fact, the Iberian peoples followed some of their most characteristic identities during the 2nd century BC, a process that is visible through their coinages. In order to understand the monetary model that Iberian cities adopted under Roman rule, as well as to assess the Roman influence on coinage, one must start from the fact that these societies didn't have earlier coinages of their own, with the exception of Arce. No native city coined before the Second Punic War. The Iberian mints struck bronze and silver under Roman rule. The mints and the weight standard used were different depending on the metals. It seems that the production of silver coins must have been controlled by the Roman administration somehow, and has a number of rather unique features. There is no doubt that local silver adopted the weight standard of the Roman denarius and was valued as Roman denarii, as we find them in many hoards alongside Roman denarii. From this slide, you can see that the average weight of the different Iberian issues, Iberian or Celtiberian issues, silver issues, they fit quite well with the weight standard of the Roman denarius. In the case of the bronze coinage, the model followed by local issues is completely different and has its own character. In terms of metrology, we find coins with a wide variety of weights, which makes it difficult to establish values and denominations. At times, weights approach the Roman uncial and reduced uncial standards. But many issues were soon made at a weight of between 9 and 12 grams. This gives the impression that means continued to work within the Roman weight structure. The variety of weights may be explained because they were intended to circulate only within the cities that minted them and their surroundings. Although the area of use, in fact, far exceeded local geographies. The The types used on Iberian coins of the Iberian Peninsula, is another aspect through which the impact of Roman coinage can be assessed. In general, the types chosen don't show a direct dependence on Roman coinage. In this, you can see the rider or the horseman with spear, with palm, aqueloa, or the Pegasus. This is true for both provinces. In this slide, there are coins from the ulterior province, where in the ulterior province, the variety of designs that have no connection with the Roman world is remarkable. There are corn, fishes, tuna, sphinx, different kind of heads. In general, no Roman connections in designs. Roman designs were very diluted within the wide repertoire of types used in Iberian mints. A prime example of early Roman influence is the adoption of the ship prow. The fixed, as we have seen, the fixed reverse type of Roman bronze. This was used by only 3 peninsular cities of the some 200 that minted during the 2nd and 1st centuries BC. One was Arce, the 2 coins at the left, which, as a federate city during the 2nd and 1st centuries BC, had a unique relationship with Rome. The second was Carteia, where the choice of the type can be explained by its being a Roman colony established in 171. A further example of Rome leaving freedom of action to the Iberian cities can be seen in the continued use and development of local scripts, particularly Iberian and Punic. The left is Iberian, the coin on the center is Punic, at the right, Neo-Punic corrupted. The general conclusion that we can draw from the types used is that the cities didn't seek references to the Roman coinage when issuing their own, and that Romans had little interest in making local coinages conform to the Roman monetary system, except in the case of the quality and weight of the silver coins. In this context, in a context of a high local monetary output, which accounted for between 50 and 75% of all circulating bronze coinages, as finds show, it's surprising to see that for a fairly long period, probably more than 50 years, Roman coins were extensively imitated. The production of unofficial Roman Republican coinage was substantial and extended over a long period. It was a fairly systematic and of an importance not so far recorded in any other province or Roman territory. The existence of these singular issues was first noticed toward the end of the 19th century, when he published his collection of Republican coins. This is what he wrote about the odd and very crude Roman coins that he had in his collection. Several years later, Barford led the groundwork for identifying and understanding the unofficial Roman Republican coinages. In a short but brilliant work in which he identified a large number of Spanish imitations through only Semisses. Many years later, Crawford saw its importance in the monetary history of the Roman Republic. And in 1982, Crawford published a list of types and coins that he thought were unofficial issues. This, for the first time, provided an organized corpus which showed the complex panorama of the unofficial Roman issues. In the same year, Villaronga attended the meeting in Rome at which Crawford presented his corpus and published the imitations he had over the years recorded from finds in Andalusia. The most interesting part of his contribution was the attribution to Hispania of cast asses, which reproduced Roman Republican asses. Later studies have provided much more information on the Spanish imitations, drawing attention of researchers to this phenomenon. These coinages had until then largely gone unnoticed, and many specimens show no obvious mistake in either legend or type. The identification of the area in which these imitations were made is crucial in placing them in context and in understanding the phenomenon as a whole. The existence of Wysonki's huge collection of Roman Republican imitations made possible a very substantial advance in the understanding of these coinages, because it greatly increased the number of types and specimens known. Rick was a collector who very early on recognized the interest of these materials and acquired all the unofficial coins that he could, while awaiting a systematic study of them. It's not easy to distinguish original from imitations, and it requires a visual understanding of Roman coinage that can only be acquired over time, mainly through handling large numbers of coins. Rick understood this and possessed a massive collection for comparison, both official and unofficial Roman coins. Rick ended by assembling the largest and most comprehensive collection that I ever seen. As you can, I don't know if you can see all the numbers, but the assets, the types that Rick had were 13. In the Museo Arqueológico Nacional, there were 4. Semisses, Rick had 60 different types. And the largest collection until now, until then, had 40 types, was the Museo Arqueológico Nacional from Madrid. So these figures gives an idea of the importance of the Rick collection. His death prevented me from sharing with him the second phase of this exciting work, the study of the unofficial Roman Republican assets. We had not yet begun, but I was able to record the coins in his collection that are now in the ANS. And this again proved crucial in advancing this research because of the number, the quality, and origin of the coins. The official Roman bronze itself was often of mediocre quality, both in terms of die cutting technique and weight. This uneven quality blurs the line that separates official and unofficial issues and makes it difficult to distinguish them. Fabric and style have proven to be the most important factors in identifying imitations. The Spanish imitations of Roman coinage include a number of denominations, of which asses and semisses are fairly well documented. But it's certain that other denominations were also imitated, although in smaller numbers. Several unique characteristics define the unofficial asses. Almost are cast from molds and reproduce the types of the Roman asses. Here is a specimen that is well cast, we can say. The all is correct, and the legend is Roma, and the pro is looking right, so it fits well within the model. These other coins are also fitting well the model, but you can see that are a crude coins. There are heavy coins. There are 33 grams, 34, 36, but all is correct. Legend Roma, the pro looking right. But there are others that copy not so well the model, and left-facing prows and errors in the legend. As you can see, this has, well, ended. The legend Roma is a series of Greek lambda in this case. And in this other, you can see the left-facing prow, and the legend is Amor, is also, the legend is also reversed. The weights of these unofficial asses are relatively high. The heaviest reaching 36.62 grams, but they evolved towards lighter weights, down to 18 or 20. Most of the groups seem to imitate anonymous issues, and only a few show a symbol. The Semisses imitations, unlike the asses, in all cases are struck coins. They copy the Roman Republican model. There was a progressive decline in quality over the long period of time in which we think these imitations were struck. The Semisses were at first made with an acceptable standard of engraving and weight. The two first coins, not bad. The engraving is not excellent, but it's normal. We can qualify, and the legend appears in a correct form. But you can see that the three of the right are Semisses, but you can see that they are 3.82, 1.94, and 1.77. 77 is, and these are Semisses formally. These are other coins that formally are Semisses, but again, you can see the weight, 3.52, 3.82, 2.67, 2.24, 16 millimeters. So formally are Semisses, but obviously they can pass as Semisses. The previous coins are correct in the shape, but there are others that many show errors, and they show up immediately the quality of the coin. In this case, you can see the reverse head of Saturn and also the letter S reversed. In this, you can see that the letter R has been reversed, defective legend. In this case, this Semis, you can see that the legend is reversed, Amor, the S, the Pro. This other is more or less the same, the left facing Pro, the reversed S. This is, the legend is just Oma, and the S on the overs is reversed, and 2.90 grams, or this that is 1.77 grams and 15 millimeters. The average weight of the unofficial Semisses ranges between 12.29 for the few heaviest issues and 1.75 for the lightest. Nonetheless, half of all coins collected are on flans weighing between 5.64 and 6.58. These wide chronological fluctuations correspond, in our view, to the approximately 70 or perhaps 80 years. With the publication of two relatively complete corpuses, we can now attempt an estimate of the size of these issues. In the case of the asses, we can compare the number of such coins known with the number of coins recorded from normal means. And in the case of the struck Semisses, we can compare the number of dice used. We know 66 asses, which is less than the number of coins we know for other means like Afinipo, Ulia, Lelia, Layesken, but more than the number that are quite important number of mints as Huaracos, Yeso, Bora, Cumbaria, Ventipo, Abra. So it's not in the middle, but the phenomenon is important. In the case of the Semisses, the samples show that more of these coins survive than of asses. The sample assembled to date, to September 2014, is 522 pieces, struck from 111 overs and 119 reverse dice. If we compare this number of dice with the dice known from local mints, other local mints, we find that the output of Semisses was similar to that of medium-sized local mints. There is little hard evidence by which to date the unofficial Roman asses and Semisses, and only a broad chronology can be proposed. With no finds of asses in hoards or in archaeological context, only metrological arguments can be advanced, despite their limitations. The declining weight of the asses suggests that their production was not a single event, but unfolded over the period of many years. The weight range of the Spanish unofficial asses corresponds well to that of official asses minted between 209 and 145 BC. On the other hand, doesn't seem appropriate to date the cast imitation to the 1st century BC, when most of Spanish mints were stricking coins of an average weight ranging from 9 to 13 grams. We can be more confident regarding the chronology of the unofficial Semisses. On the basis of specimens in hoards and finds from archaeological sites, they suggest that most are earlier than the 70s BC. From this is the Cáceres el Viejo camp, where a coin, a kleiner, according to Barford, kleiner semis, weighing 3 grams was found. So the light series of the Semisses in 70s were in circulation. The imitation of Roman coins, both asses and Semisses, were part of a monetary stock in which local and Roman coins of similar weight and module coexisted. They were made at the time of the most intense progressive monetization of the Iberian Peninsula, as more and more cities began to mint. These unofficial Roman coinages must be seen in the context of cities' growing demand for coinaging because of economic expansion and wealth creation. This phenomenon is not an isolated phenomenon. we are not going to talk about the imitations, another phenomenon in Spain, the imitation of Obulco-Castulo, and I'm finishing about these are they are very similar phenomenon with comparable with the Roman imitations. And just to finish, say that we think that the imitations were a tolerated phenomenon with coins at full or near full weights in a commercial or military environment, even probably sponsored by Roman administration. And we don't believe these coins were intended to deceive anyone. We think that during the 2nd and 1st centuries BC, coins in Hispania were valued primarily by weight and module, given the huge variety of coins in use, minted by many different cities on different local weight standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ripollès. A fascinating talk. What a rich and varied body of evidence. And thank goodness for RBW's collection, so we can make these big steps forward that you're making here in this body. Yes, time for questions. Anybody want to get us started? Yes, please, Susanna.
Yes, it's a fascinating paper. Again, many thanks, Pere Pau. I really think you are right. These were coins probably produced to provide what was needed. And like the pseudo coinages I was studying with Clive, you know, they are needed. And so the Romans, they were accepting them. I just thought I may maybe give you an example. I didn't think, unfortunately, ahead of the conference, but I could again share the screen to show you an example from a dated context north of the Alps, if this works. And I think it must be a Spanish. You see number 19 here. Can you see number 19?
Yes.
On the screen. And so I have published this here, and it is from a context. You see, this context is dated to 15 to 30 AD. And the weight is 18.8 grams. And it's a vicus, and this vicus is in the influence of the very camp, Vindonissa, I have mentioned before. And we have other dated contexts with Republican coins, and they were really probably spread after transport to the camp. They were out of small change for the soldiers, so the Republican coins typically came in just before the departure of the 13th Legion. And they are all over the place in Vindonissa in the 2nd quarter of the 1st century. And I think really here, this is also replicated in the civic context. There is another example of the official ones, very worn because they were transported here. So number 37, 38, 39 are official ones. They are typically cut in 2 pieces. And number 40 of Caligula, these 4 pieces in one same layer dated to 40, 50 AD. That's about the same time when the earthquake took place at Montellato, and such coins are also there. But then this Spanish, I think it must be one of your coins, but you will tell if this is the case.
Well, the coin number 19 is it doesn't look Spanish. I said that it's very difficult to distinguish or to be certain about the origin of the imitation, but this, for the moment, this kind of pro and this kind of portraits are not found in Spain. I have no record.
Yeah. It's a cast coin, so I don't want to waste the time anymore if this is not.
Yeah, but I mean that in my photo file I have a lot of Semisses and other assets that sometimes can be from other parts of the Roman, well, the Roman provinces of the Roman territories, but for the moment I didn't record nothing similar in Spain. I'm following the eBay Spain and in the auctions in Spain and private collections and this mold, if it's a cast, this mold I never seen before.
Yeah. It's also cast, so I didn't attribute it to any mint because I thought, yes, I should not, but yes, I suddenly thought it could be part of your material. They are extremely rare, but maybe also overlooked. Maybe. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. I see Charles Parisot's question in the Q&A, but first Andrew McCabe has reached out through chat. He was first in the queue. Andrew, please.
Good, I'm unmuted. I'd like to share screen for a moment. And I want to ask Pere Pau a slightly off-topic comment because Pere Pau's talk was all about the Spanish issues, but it is my belief that there was also Roman issues struck in Spain, and well known are ones such as the Dolabella issue and the Sex Iulia issue, which everybody now acknowledges were from Spain. There's been a lot of debate about when they were struck, but it's increasingly my view that they were actually part of regular Roman coinage struck in the 120s and 130s, alongside issues such as C. Pluti, Elopemi, and I believe that there was actually quite a significant issue of official Roman coins struck in Spain in the 120s and 130s. I just wanted to know if Pere Pau felt the same or recognized these as Spanish patrones and wondered how they fit into the Spanish issues.
Well, in the corpora or publications of finds in excavations and stray finds, these coins are not on these surveys. So from my point of view, I didn't say that were struck in Spain, but because even in the eBay sales, these coinages are not frequent. They are very rare, if they are, that I never seen this. But I agree that probably there are Roman strucks in Spain, but in this case, these issues I didn't find nothing similar.
They are all very rare though, and in my survey of trade is, I mean, you're seeing Spanish patinas on all these coins. And for example, this coin came from Spain, and several of these coins came from Spain, and several of these coins came from Spain, and these ones too. So they're probably far too rare to occur in finds, but maybe I would ask you to keep an eye out and look out for it in case you see the coins of the 120s and 130s in any Spanish context. I'd appreciate it.
Okay, I'll take in mind, and if I find something, I'll tell you, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Parisot's question is in the Q&A, is in keeping up with questions about coins in camps. You mentioned something about imitations found in Numantia. How many were documented? Were they asses or semisses?
No, in Numantia, no, I say Cáceres el Viejo.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? We have a question I personally like from Renato Schindler. I don't know if there are any art historians in the room, but he notices similarities between some of these coins and Miro designs. Is there any chance that the 20th century artists were in touch with these and influenced by them? I don't know if there's a way to answer that.
Yes.
So thank you to Professor Ripollès and to Professors Yarrow and
Thank you.
Dr. Cabe. Excellent start to the day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the American Numismatic Society's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like our online resources, publication, and events, you can support the Society by becoming a member. And don't forget to check out our book and eBay stores. The links are below.